Hello and welcome to today's broadcast. Today is Monday and I am going to be sharing a little bit about what I eat in a day. The simplest way for me to share with you what I eat in a day is through sharing my intermittent feasting guide. So it's a free guide where I put together all of the meals that are my go-to meals around the house. So we're giving that away to everyone today. Make sure you check the description box or the comment section. The link for you to download your free feasting guide is there. And so what we're going to concentrate on today mostly is the whys we struggle with learning how to feed ourselves. So if you're new, welcome. My name is Diane, and here in this community we talk about intermittent fasting for today's aging woman and really overcoming a lot of the mental and emotional roadblocks that we have as we're going through this aging process. And we share a lot of our trials and successes here as well. So welcome if you're new and you're joining us on YouTube. Please take a second to hit that YouTube button or that subscribe button so you'll be notified when we go live and or upload new content. And for those for you on Facebook who are joining us, if you hit that like button and set up your notifications as a default, you will also be notified as well. So in the comment section before I get started, what I want to do is ask anyone who's watching, put a 1 in the comment section if you find that you're struggling in your feasting window, but your fasting window is super easy for you, and put a 2 in the comment section if feasting is a piece of cake and you have no problems with fasting or feasting. I kind of want to get a feel for where we are in our community today. So 1, if you're struggling with what to do in your feasting window, and 2, if you've got it all figured out. And then we're going to kind of direct the comments toward how we end up on that little system there. So again, there's a link for downloading the free intermittent feasting guide if you guys want to get that as well. So I don't do the typical what I eat in a day videos, and I know a lot of you in this community have been asking me for that. And let me explain to you why I don't do that. 1, if you haven't noticed here on my YouTube channel, I am not the typical like YouTuber. I really do like to sit down and have the community that we're developing here be an open communication type of situation. And so walking around with a camera in my life and videotaping what I eat in a day is just not something that really inspires me. And I also feel like I have this huge responsibility to a big group of people who aren't always sharing the same common interests with feasting. And so I do feel, even as a certified nutrition coach, it's a little bit irresponsible for me to showcase my lifestyle in that way. So I have put together a free intermittent feasting guide. It's a super easy guide with very little work that you have to do to prepare very nutrient dense meals. So definitely make sure that you get yourself downloaded that copy as well. The other thing that I want to share with you guys here in this community is a little bit about fasting and intermittent fasting and feasting. So we talk a lot here, and if you're in my course, you know I talk about this a lot, that we can go 40 days without a new food experience. So we have enough storage on our bodies that as long as we have our electrolytes and we have water, we can survive 40 days without new caloric intake. So 40 days. We can only go 3 days without water or minerals. So why is it that we are still struggling so much with how to feed ourselves when we can literally go 40 days with no food? 40 days with no food, 3 days with no water. So let's rethink what it is that we are so caught up with in that feasting window. If you're practicing intermittent fasting the way we talk about it here in this community, where you can really tap into that energized sense of calm and tap into a lot of that food storage that you have, you can spend 3/4 of your day not even having to think about food. You don't even have to think about feasting. So now we have this 4-hour opportunity. So within that 4 hours, how much damage could we possibly do to ourselves if we just use really common sense approaches to nutrition? So nutritional guidelines haven't really changed too much. We know that fresh vegetables are always the thing that we want to reach for the most. Yes, some guidelines about fruit have changed, especially for us women who are suffering from sugar-related diseases. So I always ask that you think about how you're incorporating that. We know a lot of the heavy, starchy kind of carbs are not good for us. So that's just one of those things that we have that information available to us. Animal protein is always one of those really personal decisions that either you do well with it or you don't. You have to figure that out for yourself. And then we know things like gluten and soy and large amounts of sugar in our diet are not good either. Again, you have to take the time to really develop that intimate relationship with your own body chemistry to figure out what foods are intolerant to you and what foods are not intolerant to you. I've done that work over the course of the last 6 years, so I'm really clear on what is intolerant to me and what isn't. And one of the other reasons why I don't do like what I eat in a day video where I'm like having a camera person, aka Michael, follow me around, is because I'm very tuned into what doesn't work for me. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to work for you. So you really, as a woman, have to figure out what it is that makes you look and feel your best. And here's the catch: while you are living your most authentic life, because we already know through our own trials and tribulations with dieting that it's the mindset and the dialogue that we are having in our own head, not nutrition, that is tripping us up with how we need to feed ourselves, because we still categorize food as good and bad. We still categorize feasting opportunities, whether that be social or when you open up your own feasting window with intermittent fasting, as being allowed to do something and not allowed to do something. So the problem that most women, and I was having the same problem as well leading up to my own journey with intermittent fasting, is not so much I don't know what to eat, but it's more lined up with I don't know how to eat, or I don't know why I'm eating. And when we can really focus on the how to eat and the why we're eating, that's really when we can sit back and think about what it is we're doing to ourselves in regards to food. So the problem with feasting really does lie in the fact that we are jumping from diet to diet to diet to diet to I need a meal plan. Someone please tell me what I need to eat. I don't even know where to start at the grocery store. To how is my relationship with food? And when you can really start healing the relationship you have with food, so many amazing feasting opportunities will open up for you, because you will know how to fuel your body, because you'll fuel your body based on the results of a feasting opportunity being you looking and feeling your best. And you'll know why you're eating, because you will have figured out what makes you most authentic, what makes you the happiest around food, and what doesn't make you feel like you're not allowed to do things as a grown-up woman. We are allowed to do whatever it is that we choose to do. We're adults. We've raised children. We've had careers. We've helped husbands be successful in jobs maybe, or you are running a company yourself. We know how to make decisions, but we get caught up in the emotional aspect of either trying to be perfect about our food, micromanaging caloric or macro intake, and then feeling like we're overwhelmed, or relying on someone else to tell us what we're supposed to be doing to take care of ourselves. And there's one big hang up that a lot of us have, again, I'm talking from my own personal experience as well here, is when we rely on someone else to tell us how to eat and it doesn't work out for us, it's not our fault. So-and-so was telling us what we needed to do, and for whatever reason that didn't work for us. So when we are so dependent on someone else to tell us how to eat, and we're so dependent on relying on someone else to provide a meal plan for us, and then we decide that that doesn't serve us, then we can put the blame on someone else and jump into the next situation. So as long as you're jumping from situation to situation and you haven't figured out the how to eat and the why to eat for you personally as a woman, you'll never end this cycle of being troubled about how to eat. The paleo diet works, the Whole30 diet works, the ketogenic diet works, carnivorism works, veganism works. It all works as long as you are figuring out how to make it work for you. So there's nothing out there that's going to be perfect, and we know enough. We're living in an information age. We can do our own research, but if we're not implementing what we're learning and we're not pausing long enough to ask ourselves those deep emotional and mental questions that we need to ask, like, how did I get here? Why can't I end this cycle? You will never be able to end it, and you will always feel like you're struggling and not knowing how to feed yourself. So it's really simple. Food is very basic. The more you stick with one ingredient foods, the more you are okay with just putting things together and tossing it in a bowl and calling it whatever you want to call it, the simpler your life will be. One of the big reasons women are feeling like they're not being successful with this lifestyle either is because we're all busy, right? So why are we still trying to chase this over expectation with what meal time is supposed to be as well? Like, why can't we just simplify what we do in a feast and then not have to use time, money, or resources as an excuse either? If you are fasting for a majority of your day and you have a very short feasting window, finances should not be a problem. You're eating for 4 hours. Like, we already know that we can take advantage of that feasting window. Time should not be an issue. You should not have to do those large grocery hauls anymore, and you should not spend a weekend in the kitchen meal prepping food. If you work away from the home all day, take advantage of that and just go about your day without needing food. And when you come home, make dinner time something that's really, really simple. Souffleing and casseroling and a 3-step cooking process doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be a feast that's going to be more beneficial to you nutrient wise. Nutrient density comes from eating whole foods that are coming from the ground and are minimally processed. And so think about that as well. If you feel overwhelmed about what it is you need to do in your feasting window, it could be that you're trying to be too extravagant about it. And if you just do what I do, which is called dumbing it down, you'll be surprised at how easy it will be for you to stick with a plan that will help you through your fasting and your feasting, and also help you age successfully, because that's the ultimate goal here in this community. So let me break down, since I said what I eat in a day, what it is I do in a day, and it's all in my plan. All the links are available for you here in this description guide. I break my fast every day with the same shake that I've been drinking for 10 years. I just change the recipe in it depending on how my life is going. When I tell women that I break my fast this way, a lot of people come up with reasons why that won't work for them. They don't like to drink shakes. They don't want to spend the money. It's not in their wheelhouse of things to do. So that's how I break my fast every day. That's just one of my 2 meals. The other meal I have in a day is generally some form of a vegetable concoction, whatever we have in our house. Kale, could be a sweet potato. It could be a salad that we've mixed together. It could just be cucumbers with some avocado and some olives and a little bit of avocado oil and some rice vinegar. I eat a lot of vegetables, and occasionally I put a little protein on my plate. Like, it is really, really simple. You'll see this when you download our intermittent feasting guide, that I put meals on repeat. When I go outside of my wheelhouse of things that I do at home is when I go out to eat, and when I want to fancy things up or break up the routine, I go out to eat, or Michael and I will go on a date night and we kind of switch things up. And that's really how I vary up what I'm doing in my feasting window. But I can feast at home on the same. I have a video called my 5 go-to foods. You can look it up, and we'll put it in the video link up above here for the rebroadcast people. But like, if I have those 5 things, I can make a salad every day, and that salad will be different every single day with the same 5 ingredients. So we have to remember that food is not our entertainment. Food is not our source of sorrow. Food is not going to be our friend. Food is not going to be that thing that should make a bad day better. Food is just meant to nourish our body. And I think as soon as we dumb it down and know that if we have our core ingredients of things that we can run to that help us live authentically and help us look and feel our best, then we can really stop stressing out about whether we're doing it right or we're doing it wrong, because you'll know by the way you look and feel and how you feel emotionally and mentally about how you're going about your day. Never miss a memory-making opportunity because of a fast or because you don't know how to feast. Learn how to ask questions at restaurants. Learn how to read ingredients labels, and then make sure you're asking yourself the hard questions. How do I feed myself so I can have what I want? And why is it that food is still a hang up for me? If you have a 24-hour day and 20 hours out of that day you're fasting, the problem is not your feasting window. The problem really is the relationship that we have with food, the fact that we haven't stopped that diet mentality, and the fact that we aren't sure why it is that we can't make those consistently good decisions for ourselves and our overall well-being. That's really what we focus on in the intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course. We want you to have those aha moments of when you do X, you will feel Y. And when you don't do X, who knows how you're going to feel. And that's really the aha moments that we are shooting for when we're in the intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course. And with all of our graduates that are here in this community, it's never the fast, it's always the feast. And when are we going to get to the point where we say enough is enough, and we're going to stop self-sabotaging ourselves and stop using other people as the reason and the excuse for why we are saying we don't know how to take care of ourselves? Food is very simple. We complicate it. And I don't understand why we want to keep struggling in this environment of complication when really food should be super, super, super simple. If you don't know what the ingredients are in a food, or you don't know what the nutritional makeup is in a food that you're choosing to eat, just Google it. We are in an information age. You can Google everything and you can create an amazingly healthy lifestyle for yourself that is nutrient dense, and you won't have to rely on anyone else to ever feed you again. So Google it, jump into our course. We're here to help you, and then make sure you download my guide. You'll see it's super simple. I am not a chef. I just put things together. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I can tell you in the past 6 years, the emotional relationship that I have with food has completely turned around. I know as a grown woman now how to feed myself, and I never feel like I'm in a panic state when I open up my feasting window, because I have identified the foods that do make me look and feel my best. I've done the research, I've done the work, I put the time in, and I know how to read those ingredients labels. So we can't be in denial. We got to be honest with ourselves when we are making these choices. So I hope that helps. Feasting is really an emotional experience more than it is anything that's physiological that's going on with your body. When you fix the emotional aspect of things, feasting becomes so much simpler for us because we make better choices. So let me go on here on Facebook first. Hopefully this is giving you some encouragement. Hopefully this is giving you some things to think about feasting. It really shouldn't be that difficult. It should be something that you look forward to and you enjoy, and it's time that you spend with your family and not anything that's bringing you any kind of angst at all. Lisa, hello, good to see you. Girlfriend Stephanie's here. Amy, my cousin from Oregon, is here. She's in our decluttering class. We're having a lot of fun this month. Helen from Australia, girlfriend, it's good to see you as well. Angel's here. Hi from West Palm Beach, Florida. Sunshine Shirley, good to have you with us. Do you still use Prove It exogenous ketones? Yes and no. I use them in waves when I feel like I need them, mostly for brain health. But I really very rarely make those kind of food mistakes anymore, where I kind of feel like I'm losing my cognitive function. So I use them on occasion. Michael used them a lot, right? Ketones. So Michael uses his as a pre-workout, and so he's really loving them. I kind of ebb and flow through them. I am really benefiting from the lifestyle I've created where I can get into ketosis now on my own, but I use them in the beginning to kind of help me kickstart that. So those are those things you can kind of ebb and flow with for sure. If you want more information, you can email me on that one. Can you use Prove It when you're fasting? It all depends. When you're using anything in your fasted state, it's called dirty fasting. And I believe if you're not healed from the sugar related kind of things that you're suffering from, insulin resistance, hypoglycemia, any kind of diabetic states, I say don't dirty up your fast. It's too much of a risk. You want to make sure that you have your blood glucose and insulin really under control before you put anything in that fasted window for sure. So it's a journey to get there, but it's worth it when you get there. Kelly, got to be willing to experiment with figuring out what works for sure. Amy, I have enjoyed the flexibility of my feasting choices. Probably one of my favorite things about this lifestyle. Yeah, for sure. And then Jerry Ann from, is it Nebraska? N.E. Elkhorn, January grad. Good to have you with us, girlfriend. Remember, food is a mindset, right? It's always about, you have to be able to look at something and then have that conversation inside your head. It's almost like if you're speaking a second language. It's this translation that goes on without you even having to think, and be able to ask yourself a question. If I engage in this feasting experience, how am I going to feel in an hour? How am I going to feel later tonight? How am I going to feel tomorrow when I wake up? How am I going to feel on Wednesday? You know, I say that a lot in our community groups. Like, everything you do on the weekend hits you on Wednesday, right? It's that delayed reaction of bad food choices. And so, do you remember on Wednesday how important the choices were for you on the weekend? No, you're just in a self-sabotaging, like, negative self-talk mode on Wednesday. You forget why you made those choices on the weekend. So really making sure that you have control over your weekend is a really good advantage that you have in getting a hold on a lot of what we suffer with as women, especially with these food choice dilemmas, because we think we can just do whatever we want on the weekend and we can make it up during the week. You will always be in lag time, and you will never ever be able to catch up from a weekend. So weekend should be the time that you treat yourself the best, not the time that you throw in the towel and let everything and anything come into your window, because the 5 days you have during the week are not enough time to make up for those decisions, for sure. Okay, lots of ones here. So I'm hoping that this is connecting with you in some way. I'm hoping that you understand you are the one that has control of these choices. You are the one who has control of saying enough is enough, and that you don't want to go down these roads anymore. Anna, so excited about joining for the first time. Anna, it's good to have you with us. Lots of ones, like I said, a couple of twos. Super proud of you guys for doing the work. Michelle, definitely a one. Hello from Arkansas, November 2019 grad. Okay, so Michelle, I want you to think about, or go back through the course. Go back through weeks 2 and weeks 3 and listen to those lessons again. I always encourage my grads to go through the course more than one time. When you go through the first time, remember, you're always in that aha moment kind of mode, a little bit of deer in the headlights sort of mode, because you can't believe you're actually fasting for 20 hours. The second time you go through your course content, you're soaking it in with the experience, and you're soaking it in with a little bit more trust, because you've already gone through it one time. So go back through the course, go back through the second and third week where we talk about feasting and setting boundaries, and see if that might help you get a little bit more control over that feasting window, for sure. And then Kathleen made it again today. December 18 grad, grateful to be consistently learning in the IF journey. Yeah, for sure, girlfriend. And Kathleen, you've been doing an amazing job. I'm super proud of you. Julie, she's a 1 also. Brenda, July, August 2019 grad, starting what was best during feasting, but I'm glad you allowed me to figure out what works for my body and not try to be a clone. Yeah, for sure. That's the beauty, I think, of what nutrition is and our own personal body chemistry, is that we all feel things different ways, and we're all reacting to things different ways, and we have to do that food history thing. We talked about it a little bit on Friday when I talked about my annual physical and how I don't freak out when I go to the doctor, because I have the pieces to my life story that I can put together and it makes sense. So it's not that if we're doing anything wrong when something kind of goes astray health-wise. It's just that it's the culmination of things over time. So do a little bit of your food story history as well. Oftentimes, a lot of times that we're struggling with food or nutrition or trying to find something that works for us, a lot of it has to do with conditioning from the past as well, right? So how is food used in your life, and how are you conditioned to respond and react both mentally and emotionally to food? And oftentimes when you can put those pieces of the puzzle together, you can let some things go and decide as a grown woman that you are now in the position to make better decisions for yourself as well. That was a huge aha moment for me going through my journey also. And then Nancy's a 1 also. Hopefully this helps. Make sure you download the guide. Danielle, can't wait to start the March class. Yeah, Danielle, I can't wait to have you in with us. We are going to have such a great time. Springtime brings a new sense of energy and optimism, I know, for a lot of people. So our class is going through this spring and this summer are always super energetic, because we all have this hope that we made it through another winter. So it's super fun, and I'm glad you'll be with us for sure. And Aaliyah, I do very well with chicken and fish baked only. Anything fried wreaks havoc on my system and only fresh vegetables. Yeah, so you figured that out, right? And there might be people who have just the opposite reaction with things. I know so many people who don't eat vegetables at all and they're thriving. So, who are we to question if that's why that should work or shouldn't work for them? So finding your own path is always the best way for sure. And I'm super proud of you for doing that work. And then Debbie, you're a 1-2 girlfriend. We need to do some work on the hows and the whys of nutrition for you as well. And then Terry, thank you for being such an encourager. Welcome. You're welcome, girlfriend. And I have walked down this path as well. I have had my bouts through my entire life of struggling with food. I'm sure I even had times in my younger days where I would have been classified with eating disorders and over-exercising episodes and really doing extreme and probably some dangerous things. Just to keep a physique type of situation, or being afraid of food and over analyzing calories and all of those kind of things. So we've all had our little bouts with that kind of thing. And I think as we're going through this aging process, we owe it to ourselves to let go of a lot of that we were holding on to from the past, all that baggage, and reevaluate what food really does mean to us. And we do deserve to look and feel our best. And food is that thing that is causing us to just not be our best. And there's no other way to even explain that at this point, but figure the food out that's going to work for you and stop leaning into the foods that are taking and robbing a good day away from you is the best way to put that one for sure. Nancy, 2019 grad, trouble in feasting window. When I eat mentally, I think won't eat again 18-20 hours and eat more than what I should crave to eat sweets such as pineapple cookies. Okay, Nancy, that's an emotional thing and not an intellectual thing, because you know after being in this class for so long that that's not the issue. And even if you go for 20 hours of fasting, you're feasting, right? Your body's feasting. We've done the science and the proof work on that in class. So connect with the why emotionally you're feeling afraid. There's plenty of food around. We've already defined the difference between starvation and fasting in this window, or starvation and hunger in our community here. So you're not starving. So what makes you panic about eating? And then the other thing that we also want to remember with ourselves is that we don't want to become food phobic, right? So you have to find that joy and happiness with food, which is why figuring out the foods that help you look and feel your best are really important. So find the joy in what it is that you're feasting on and take the panic away. So that is that emotional thing that you really got to connect with and find that underlying thing that's kind of that's kind of poking at you there for sure, Nancy. Carol, hello, girlfriend. Julie, seeing the reports of how much people lose puts me into my old dieting mindset. I start to measure myself against others. I am not being critical of others, only of myself. Julie, don't ever compare yourself to other people. I'm very open about a lot of things in my life. One of the things is weight. Like, I'm a heavy girl. I'm 5'10". I'm like between 160, 165 on my slim days. And that makes people gasp. Like, I'm heavier than a lot of men I know. But I'm confident in my own skin. And could I lose 5 or 10 pounds? I don't know. I'm happy right now. Why do I even want to go to that place where I might cause some unhappiness in my life to shed a couple pounds? So weight is nothing that you should ever use to justify yourself or to make yourself feel like you're successful at something or not successful at something. Weight is personal to you, and how other people lose weight has nothing to do with you. So congratulate someone who's losing weight and then go about your day. Like, don't ever use that as a comparison, because it's going to rob you of something else that's going in your life that you're being very, very successful at, because you're going to be focused on the negative. So always trying to find a place that you can get yourself to the positive on that one for sure. And then you are so worth it. How much protein do you eat in a day? I have absolutely no idea. I don't count it. I try to go mostly plant protein and not a lot of animal protein. Julie, not a lot. It varies. Oh, maybe she was talking to you. Teresa, I always feast. I always the feast. Eating too much a lot of days. I need to be more conscious in my feasting window. Okay, so remember what I always say. If you're not hungry and you're still eating, that is the classic definition of overeating. So we have to make sure, this is where I say you have to have that intimate relationship with your body, right? and the signals that it is sending you. So if you're satiated and you feel comfortable, that's when we know to stop eating. We don't have to worry about cleaning plates anymore, or we shouldn't be worried about cleaning plates anymore, and get really used to just serving up smaller portions and then add to that as you go along. So Teresa, I'm gonna say you're probably more of a 1.5, not a 1, and you're definitely well on your way, because it's always evolving and you're always gonna be learning as well. So know that, nutrition's not perfect, and your feasting window will probably never be perfect because life is going to happen. But making those conscious choices for yourself and not putting pressure on yourself and listening to your hunger hormones will definitely help for sure. So it's good to see you here today, Teresa. Kathleen, always love how you have made this also uncomplicated. Do what is best for you, and you is the best advice I've ever gotten. Yeah, you have to. Don't let anybody else dictate what you have to eat, because they have nothing to do with you and your personal life or your body chemistry. Aaliyah, I've struggled with this too, Julie. I was obsessed with calorie counting and dieting. Yeah, I haven't counted a calorie or a macro, and I can't even tell you how long. I don't portion food. I don't do any of those things. And I'll tell you what, it's the most liberating way to live your life. Carrie, I appreciate the reminder to keep it simple. Yeah, for sure, girlfriend. Always keep it simple. And then Sunshine Shirley, I signed up for the March class too. So excited to start. Oh, I'm so excited for you guys. Christy is a 1. Girlfriend, where are you most struggling? Dinah, hello, girlfriend. Pauline, 2019 grad. I'm reading Life Changing Food by Anthony Williams, one of your recommended books. He advocates eating every couple of hours and eating lots of fruit. Can you address this? Yes, he has nothing to do with my life. So I always read those kind of books. I actually read more personal development books than I do nutrition books, because I feel like I need to keep my head on straight more than I need to have someone tell me what to do, right? And so I'm always in personal development books, because the healthier I am in my own headspace, the more conscious I am in my feasting window. So there's a little tidbit of advice too. I can't eat fruit like that. It makes me sick. It makes me diabetic in a sense. And so fruit is sugar to my body. My body can't differentiate. So that advice for me would lead me down a path of being sick. So that's great information. Yes, fruit is full of all kinds of nutrients, but I can't eat it the way most people suggest that you should eat it. I used to eat it that way. I ended up a diabetic. So take information in, pause on it for a second, and ask yourself, how does this apply to me? If you're a woman suffering from sugar-related diseases, I would highly recommend not dipping into the fruit bowl too often, because you might see some of those sugar-related tendencies coming back. For sure. I would say definitely eat lots of vegetables for sure. And then Tracy, can I eat fruit when I'm fasting? You can't eat anything with your fasting, because a fast is the absence of an insulin response, and anything that you put in your body that's food related will cause an insulin response. Christy, excited to be a newbie to the group. Christy, welcome. We love having new members in our community. Wanda, jumping in now, so I must watch the whole thing later. Just finished the IF course in February, and I'm loving the new lifestyle. Wanda, you did a really good job. It was super awesome to have you in class. Penny from Michigan is here. Let's see, Anna Cook. I will love to join the next class, but worry about my crazy schedule. Girlfriend, I make it easy for you. Everything that I do here in this community is to make your life easier. So it's no more than a 10 or 15 minute lesson a day. You do it on your own time. You take the information, you do what I just suggested, take in what I tell you, ask yourself how this applies to you and how you can implement it into your life, and then you go about your day. So it's a very slow paced course over a 3-week window, and I don't ask a lot from you other than to come in with it with an open mind and make sure that you practice some of the things that we teach in class, so you give yourself an opportunity to try this new lifestyle out. So I would say definitely jump in with us. Don't wait. Cassia, some days I feel like I'm constantly munching on something during my 3 to 4 hour feasting window. I tend to go for nuts and seeds. Okay, so just make sure you understand what the carb count is on some of those nuts and seeds. Some are higher than others. So if you're feeling like you're not getting the results you want, it could be that you're over consuming something as healthy as nuts or seeds. So just know what the net carbs are on some of those things, and then make a better decision if you need to. Dolores, try to fast 16 to 20 hours daily and drinking a lot of water. During the feast, I'm eating pretty good, but I want within reason, but smaller portions. There you go, girlfriend. And then Wanda, I would say I am a 1.5. Can I do that? Yeah, for sure. Have super good days, and then a few days I tend to eat too much. I am learning to refine my feasting because I have seen how certain foods make me feel. So the biggest thing is how foods make you feel not even the quantity is really going to be one of those things that's going to hold you up too much. So some days you just need to feast more, and other days, I always say, when you don't feel hungry, lean into a fast. So that's where perfect meal plans are really going to stall you a little bit, because if you don't feel like eating, you shouldn't eat, and if you feel like you need to eat more, you should eat more. So let your body ebb and flow through that as well. And then Dolores, thanks for being my IF cheerleader this year. I am striving to finally obtain my goals for weight loss. Awesome, girlfriend. October 2019 grad. Tammy, great information. You're welcome. And Anna, you're welcome as well. Okay, I got to bust out of here because I just blew through my 30-minute window. Melania, hello there. When do you close your eating window? I close my eating window after 4 hours of feasting. So I usually shoot for 20 hours a day. I don't give specific times because I don't want you doing what I do. I fast for 20, I feast for 4. And then I kind of just go about my day. So make sure you download our free intermittent feasting guide. I'm trying to take away the excuses for you guys. You have some ground rules here. You have some information that you can start with. Super simple 1 or 2 step family-friendly meals that you can incorporate into your life. If you put a 1 in the comment section and you haven't jumped into our intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course, get yourself in class. I really help you figure all of this out. I don't expect you to have this down perfectly by the time you graduate from class. I expect you to have tried. I expect you to reevaluate some things in life. I understand that life is not perfect. Food is not perfect. We are not perfect, but we really do deserve an opportunity to take some of this pressure, stress, and guilt off of ourselves and look and feel our best and create something that we can feel most authentic about. So I hope to see you guys in class. I will see you guys on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks so much for joining me today. I always appreciate the conversations that we have here in this community. That's why I show up, so I can connect with all of you here live. And if you have any questions, always feel free to put them in the comment section. I'll answer them as I go through my week. Have a good day.